Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Inside Out 2 makes too much money, cancels animated woke movies. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. There is such a thing as making too much money. It's a positive, but it's also a negative. It means it's impossible to not make a massive cultural shift in Hollywood with the success of Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 has made so much money that it's actually beat Barbie for last weekend. Last weekend was its second weekend. Actually beat Barbie. Compared to the first Inside Out movie, it's doing much bigger numbers than the first one. The first one did, let's look at the numbers together, $850 million worldwide. That's a lot of money. That's good money. That's why they made a sequel for it. How much of a profit is that? Several $100 million. Inside Out 2 is at $724 million worldwide so far. And it's only in its second week. So clearly it's going to make a lot more money than the first one did. It's also the first Pixar movie in a while to not be a woke Pixar movie. Elemental prior to this only did $484 million. And that's a worldwide number. The reason for the improvement is there's no negative buzz about this movie. It's actually on brand with what people expect for a Pixar movie. And it's also got no controversy to it. No negative social media. A 96% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. In a recent article in Bloomberg, the president of Pixar was kind of questioning the entire Pixar business model. Here's what he had to say. When Pixar finally returned to theaters in 2022 after the pandemic with Lightyear, a Toy Story spinoff, the film's dour tone failed to impress critics and moviegoers, while a scene with a same-sex kiss resulted in its being banned in most countries with predominantly Muslim populations. Why was it necessary to put a same-sex kiss in that Buzz Lightyear movie? Well, because they needed to stick it to Florida. It's while they were fighting with Florida over Florida's laws against indoctrinating kids. And that's how Pixar politically fought back, creating a tremendous amount of negative publicity because people don't want politics in their entertainment. They just thought they could get away with it, and it turned out they couldn't. After that came Elemental, a film in which characters embodying fire and water fall in love, opening in cinemas to the worst box office numbers in the company's history. Another project pushing a political agenda tied to gender that wasn't necessary for the story and it wasn't necessary for the movie. Audiences were turned off. Here's the key. Quote, we were all kind of gut punched, and it was tough on morale, says Jim Morris, Pixar's president. I thought it was a good film with a Pixar feel. So when it didn't work, that was like, whoa, I was thinking, do people just not want to see the kind of film we make anymore? Is that done? Tough on morale is very important. During the pandemic, it was difficult to judge how should movies really be doing at the box office. If movie theaters are closed, of course the numbers aren't going to be good. That happened to coincide with them trying to get as many agenda-driven movies as possible, to the point where they didn't even know, could they actually do a good quality movie that was on brand and have financial success? So the strategy at Pixar is this now. Here's how the president of Pixar plans to turn the studio around. And his first part of the plan was judging the success of Inside Out 2. This is before the movie came out and did incredible numbers. Morris's strategy to turn things around involves balancing original movie ideas with sequels and spin-offs, the better to remind audiences what they once loved about Pixar. Every hit of yesteryear is being considered for a reboot, with Finding Nemo and The Incredibles regarded as particularly strong candidates for new titles. Pixar aims to make 3 movies every 2 years. Historically, it's been closer to 1 a year, with every other title a sequel or a spin-off, and the rest standalone concepts or potential seeds for new franchises. The next big Disney animated movie is Moana 2, and I'm telling you what, that's going to be on brand, at least consistent with Moana 1. Expect it to do box office numbers consistent with the first Moana or even better. Star Wars is hopeless until they have a change in management at the top. Kathleen Kennedy is blaming fans for the failure of Star Wars. Yes, doing that again. Here are the headlines on Inside Out 2 and how much money it's actually making. The Hollywood Reporter. Inside Out 2 soars to record $100 million in second weekend in the US. It's $724 million globally. Inside Out 2 did $30 million on Juneteenth. From The Hollywood Reporter, Juneteenth box office. Inside Out 2 scores record $30 million. The morale over at Pixar has to be high right now because they're back in business. They know how to make movies like this. They're going to continue to make more movies like this. Everyone makes more money. Everyone's energy is positive. And as the president of Pixar said, their morale was down as they were failing out with their nonsense propaganda movies. You could expect the same kind of mood over at Marvel when Deadpool Wolverine comes out and does similar business to Inside Out 2. The Pixar sequel boasts the biggest sophomore outing of all time for an animated film and the 7th biggest of any film behind Behemoths, Star Wars, and Avengers sequels. It even beat Barbie. Barbie ultimately did $1.4 billion worldwide. They don't need to do $1.4 billion. Will they do that kind of number? No one knows. It depends how many times people want to go see the same movie again and again with different family members and for social experiences and having a great time. If it ended at $1.2 billion, Inside Out 2 would be a massive hit, and it would change the culture of Pixar and the larger culture of Hollywood. If it does $1.4 billion or $1.6 billion, it's an even bigger success. But the numbers don't lie, and the numbers are in. Pixar will be making relatable, feel-good movies as of now and in the future. It doesn't mean they won't have a bomb here or there. They still have other things that were already in the works, like the movie Elio. But it does mean the political animated movies are pretty much dead. Joyful, ecstatic, elated, take your pick. Pixar's Inside Out 2 is on fire at the global box office, where it grossed a record-shattering $100 million domestically and $164 million overseas in its second weekend to finish Sunday with $724 million in ticket sales, becoming the top-grossing film of the year after racing past Dune Part 2 at $711 million. The pandemic didn't kill movies. Streaming didn't kill movies. Pushing politics into movies, especially movies for children, could have killed movies. But now movies are getting a new life. The animated tentpole about the emotions inhabiting a 13-year-old girl is among an elite group of films that have earned $90 million or more in their second weekend of play at the domestic box office. Inside Out 2 enjoyed the biggest sophomore outing of any animated film domestically and the 7th biggest of any film behind such behemoths as installments in the Avengers, Star Wars, and Jurassic World series. It even earned more than Barbie, which grossed $93 million in its second weekend. Inside Out's 2 tally stands at $355 million in North America, where it fell only 35%, the best hold of any film in history that opened to $150 million or more. At 40%, Star Wars The Force Awakens previously held that distinction. And we know the Star Wars brand has no life left to it, thanks to the refusal of Kathleen Kennedy to allow the patriarchy to exist in the Star Wars universe. Star Wars is now a matriarchy, at least until she leaves. And that's the difference between the Star Wars brand and Lucasfilm compared to Pixar. Pixar actually has a lot of creative people that know how to make great movies. Kathleen Kennedy kind of doesn't know how to make great movies. No one's ever gone back and said, you know what, that Kathleen Kennedy movie, that was fantastic. I want to see another one of those. Kathleen Kennedy has no self-control. There's no way she can allow people to actually make a good Star Wars movie. The summer's other major animated tentpole, Universal and Illumination's Despicable Me 4, launched to franchise best numbers in its first 4 international markets ahead of its domestic debut over the July 4th holiday, although it still couldn't beat Inside Out 2 in Australia, where it opened to $4.3 million, or in Spain. Inside Out 2 marks a win for Disney's film empire and a major comeback for Pixar, and is almost assured of becoming the first title since Barbie to join the $1 billion club at the global box office. Bob Iger is the head of Disney, but he's not the head of the different individual studios. Disney is a massive business with multiple divisions in it. Bob Iger will give these guys a direction, but they've got to decide whether or not they're going to follow the direction. If they don't follow the direction, like Lucasfilm is off on its own planet, Marvel seems to be trying to go back to male-centered movies like Deadpool and Wolverine. Pixar has now officially turned a corner with the success of Inside Out 2. It's up to the heads of each of these divisions to decide if they're going to take propaganda out of their movies and TV shows. Lucasfilm clearly says no. Pixar clearly says yes. Marvel also looks like they're saying yes. But every company, every Hollywood entertainment business, the games guys, the comics guys, people are aware of what's going on with Inside Out 2. It doesn't mean they're all going to change overnight. But it does mean when it's some kind of a $200 million production, businesses, studios that at least have the ability to produce good content again will produce good content again. Pixar officially has its mojo back, and it came pretty quick. When you consider it was just a couple of months ago they were talking about making changes. Obviously, this has been going on for a while now behind the scenes. Next up is Disney's Marvel with Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm not saying to support this company. I'm just saying they understand that the propaganda is the thing that was killing their businesses, at least over at Disney, and they're going to do less of it in their movies. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.